Welcome to Bespoke Diaries. Today's article is on Empty Hallways Lead to Brilliant New Pastures by Dr. Ambreen Zaman Riaz, founder, I Change Her Life, co-founder, Uppshot Lifesciences, creative director, ICHL Studio, host of the podcast, Leadership in Medicine, United Arab Emirates. Ikigai, finding your purpose and crafting your destiny. Occam's razor, entities should not be multiplied without necessity. We always know that the simplest problem-solving methods produce the most effective results, yet we insist on creating unnecessary obstacles for ourselves. The culture of hard work insists that our effort will not be rewarded, valued, or appreciated if a job requires less effort. Hence, we create unnecessary obstacles on an otherwise straight path, convinced that the more we grind, the more we will please the gods of hard labor. Even when solutions are readily available, we choose to shun them in favor of complex, hard to untangle idiosyncrasies because our subconscious programming dictates that anything that comes easy is probably not worth having. Thus, we entangle ourselves in a myriad of complexities. Ambreen's aim is that the readers who wish to create a difference in the world would do so without the unnecessary hassle. She has lived and worked as an expatriate in 7 countries, across 4 continents, including Johannesburg, South Africa, Moscow, Russia, Istanbul, Turkey, Dubai UAE, LA, Santa Barbara, Boston, and Washington DC. If she can distill her experiences into one tequila shot that readers can swallow, here's the lesson that needs reiteration: set the intention, then let nature take its course. The more you struggle, the more difficulties will show up in your life. Ambreen's journey began on a balmy morning of October 19, 2010. She stepped into the hallway of her medical facility in Istanbul, Turkey. While working as a general practitioner at a geriatric facility run by Catholic nuns, she learned the true meaning of compassion, empathy, and kindness. The experience laid the emotional groundwork for Ambreen's social enterprise I Change Her Life. As she walked towards her office door, she saw a figure curled up in a fetal position on the bench outside her door. Hearing her footsteps, the person turned around, and Ambreen froze in her tracks. It was a woman drenched in blood from her navel to her knees. The long dark sarong she wore was stained and wet, with blood dripping into a puddle on the floor. Ambreen rushed over and grabbed her with both arms, minutes before she fell unconscious. She called her nursing staff and hurled her onto the stretcher before she ultimately passed out. For the next 2 hours, Ambreen and her team worked on her frail body to bring life back into her. The woman was from a local community and had had a spontaneous abortion due to preeclampsia. Since she did not have the resources or means to go to a local hospital, she thought the nuns might help her. The experience left an indelible mark on Ambreen's memory, and that was the day she started her quest as a social healthcare entrepreneur. With a meager $5,000 saving, Ambreen started her startup from a small village on the outskirts of Istanbul, Turkey. As a medical doctor, she had no prior experience working in the non-profit sector. Soon, she realized that people who work in the social sector are not always socially conscious types. The mental gymnastics that go on in non-profits and the ego battles that ensue can put the real housewives to shame any day. Ambreen guesses when the resources are limited, power dynamics are altered in a way that triggers egos. So, if you are trying to enter the social sector to help the disadvantaged, tread with caution. It's not as philanthropic as it may seem. Empty hallways lead to brilliant new pastures. Over the next 8 years, Ambreen learned some of the most challenging yet endearing lessons of her life. While she managed to expand her venture to conduct projects across South Asia, Turkey, and Africa, the path was not without perils. Along the way to creating an international healthcare enterprise, she was backstabbed, bullied, harassed, and called names. Her identity and accomplishments triggered jealousy and envy, it seemed. But the shadows along their path helped them appreciate the contrast and direct them towards the light. When you feel the weight of other people's judgment, remember that their lack of discernment is not your responsibility. Your job is not to convince others who you are, your job is to simply be the best version of you. By 2016, Ambreen's organization had trained over 35,000 plus women and girls through their vocational training program and healthcare advocacy workshops. The vocational training provided the essential skill set needed to start small business ventures. They created 8-week-long training workshops, helped women learn IT skills, agricultural skills, culinary and embroidery skills, enough to stand on their own feet and provide for themselves and their families. In the healthcare sector, they focused on maternal mortality, management of preeclampsia, maternal diabetes, and prevention of STDs, particularly HPV virus and cervical cancer. I Change Her Life won the Stevie Business Award for Best Community Development Program in 2015. Out of more than 220 entries from 75 countries, they grabbed top honors. It was a moment of pure exuberance for them as a team, because they had seen days when they thought they might not be able to make it. There were weeks when nothing seemed to work, or they would receive rejection letters incessantly from donors. Despite the hardships and seemingly insurmountable obstacles, they persevered. Ambreen received her CIVICUS Nelson Mandela Award nomination in January 2016. She was overjoyed. Ambreen has curated a list of her life lessons. She hopes her experiences can help others on their journey to fulfill their destiny. 1. Ikigai. As a typical Type A, overzealous and hyperactive person, over the years, Ambreen has mellowed down to trade her hypervigilance for what the Japanese describe as Ikigai or flow. The crux of the philosophy is that we achieve more by stepping away rather than leaning in. Instead of fuming over the problem, set it aside. Go and play. The answer will pop up from your subconscious mind when you least expect it. 2. Unlearn. You are a product of your environment. You learn to absorb stimuli from your environment, like a sponge from the time you were born. If you want to unsolve the mysteries of the world, start by unlearning your conditioned responses. Learn to view the world without filters of judgments and stereotypes, otherwise, your biases will become your blind spots. 3. Life throws convivial opportunities to celebrate joy and mystery. Embrace all of them. Ambreen's journey was not without trials and tribulations. As a physician, she had little or no understanding of the non-profit sector, which compounded her mistakes and made her learning curve steeper. Despite the upheavals and vicissitudes Ambreen encountered along the way, she managed to persevere, not because she's a strong person but because she trained herself emotionally, physically, and psychologically to push past the pain. How did she do that? She channeled her frustrations into physical activity. She started running and set goals for herself. Ambreen ran her first marathon in 2012, after training for a year with her coach. Every morning he would make her run uphill for 5 or 6 kilometers, and she threw up consistently every day as soon as she reached the top. Ambreen remember his South African accent grilling her, "Doc, throw up your cookies all you want, but you cannot stop. You cannot give up." Every time she felt stuck in life, Ambreen can hear his voice screaming in her head, and without a doubt, she gets up and pulls herself together. Hence, those of you who feel stuck in old patterns, and can see no hope for a breakthrough, plunge yourselves into a new activity, preferably one that requires movement. The neurogenesis activated from learning new activities will help dislodge old habits. Last but not least, trust the journey. Even when you can't see the whole picture, believe that tiny strokes can create a masterpiece. It's not the mistakes that define you, it's your faith in something bigger than yourself. Trust and let go. It's safe. Ambreen Zaman Riaz is a medical doctor with an MPA degree from Harvard University. She is an alumna of the Edward S. Mason Fellowship for Public Policy and Management and Women and Power Leadership program at Harvard Kennedy School. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For similar type of article, please reach us at contact@thebespokediaries.com, or you can visit our website www.thebespokediaries.com.